Welcome to the Delay in Block Productions YouTube channel. This video was made possible by contributions from our loyal subscribers through PayPal and Patreon. Consider a $1 monthly crowdfunding contribution to ensure the quality of our online content and subscribe to our YouTube channel for new and exciting videos. As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy the following video. It's April 4th, 2015, and two Amtrak P32 diesels are being used in a special power move out of Chicago. The P32s are part of a series of 20 General Electric Dash 8 locomotives built in 1991 to grace Amtrak's rails, pulling some of the railroad's most important passenger trains. The 519 was one of the last true Amtrak locomotives to wear the Phase 4 livery. This was the first time in 4 years that a P32 had operated over the Michigan line, since the locomotives at the time were not equipped with the incremental train control system equipment. Without an FRA waiver, any locomotives without ITCS equipment cannot operate over the Amtrak Michigan line. However, during our visit to Michigan City, the locomotives were permitted to run over the main line to milepost 228, where they would be tied down for another crew who would pick up and move the loaded ballast cars on a maintenance-of-way train later that week. Quite a few Amtrak personnel were needed to make this special move, including a road foreman and a train master. While in the yard, the two 4-axle General Electrics met a South Shore local freight train which was doing some switching in the area. After catching the meet, we would venture over to CP 228 on the Michigan line, catching Amtrak's eastbound Wolverine number 352. CP 228 sometimes referred to as Drawbridge, is where the former Michigan Central Main Line crosses above Trail Creek. Drawbridge is actually a swing bridge, and it was once double-tracked but lost its second main line in the 1970s when Amtrak acquired and restructured the 83 additional miles of railroad between Michigan City, Indiana and Kalamazoo, Michigan in 1976, upon purchasing the trackage from the newly formed Consolidated Rail Corporation, commonly known as Conrail. After catching the eastbound Wolverine, we caught its westbound counterpart, Wolverine number 353, under the former New York Central coaling tower near milepost 227. After the two Amtrak trains cleared the way, the South Shore's AF2 local was permitted to enter the yard by the coal-powered electric plant. After making a few bizarre switching maneuvers, we caught the train street running down 10th Street in Michigan City. This would be our last shot of the day, ending our first adventure with the South Shore. It would be more than 2 years later before we revisited this unique short line, and we wouldn't be disappointed. On October 29, 2017, we found ourselves along the South Shore once again to chase assigned Freight Train 3 during its last week of operation. AF3, which interchanged with CSX at East Chicago at the time, was being abolished due to corporate changes at CSX. Just east of the Ogden Dunes Portage train station, AF3 picked up a few cars before continuing west. While waiting for the train to continue its journey, we witnessed Amtrak Wolverine number 351 utilizing the water level route to the north of the station parking lot. This job had been operating since the early 2000s, running over the CSX Garrett subdivision mainline from the Miller Avenue connection to East Chicago's Pegasus Yard, providing rail fans a unique opportunity to see the South Shore running at 60 miles per hour over the former B&O mainline. Just before AF3 blasted off for the Miller Avenue connection, South Shore's AF5 job was seen rounding the corner to the east. We decided to reposition our camera for a better view of both trains as they raced each other to the west. After November 3, 2017, the South Shore would no longer utilize the Garrett subdivision to interchange with CSX, but rather interchange with the Belt Railway of Chicago instead for all in- and outbound traffic between the two railroads. A few miles to the west, we set up at the Miller Station platform, positioning our camera just behind the yellow line for this close-up scene of train AF5. With a commuter train nearby, South Shore's dispatcher decided to hold train AF3 east of Miller Station. Approaching the station platform was Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District train number 603, an eastbound set of electrified commuter cars that operate over the South Shore line out of Chicago and South Bend, Indiana. Being such a busy commuter corridor in the state of Indiana, the South Shore line provides a variety of action for rail fans in the Chicagoland region and is one of the last electrified lines in the Midwest. After the 603 stopped at Miller, train AF3 was permitted to continue west. At Miller Station, the train would back down the connection track adjacent to the main, where it would then utilize the CSX Garrett subdivision onward to East Chicago. At Gary, we set up alongside the once magnificent, now abandoned train station as AF3 ran at track speed with an ex-Iowa Interstate SD38-2, number 804, leading the train west. Upon catching the AF3 for a final time at Gary, we decided to venture out to Hudson Lake, Indiana, on the east side of Michigan City, to shoot Pool Freight 10 with two GP38-2s leading the train west. On the South Shore's Pool Freights, crews have set days off and are on call with no set start time throughout the week. At the North Vale Road overpass, we shot the train from above as it speedily continued its journey towards Michigan City's Carroll Avenue yard. Jumping ahead to Carroll Avenue, we captured the train slowly meandering by the station platform before the crew shoved the train into the yard. Immediately after PF-10 cleared out of the way, South Shore SD38-2 number 804 was seen returning to Carroll Avenue as light power, running long hood forward. This would be the end of a successful day on the South Shore. But with the sunlight moving towards golden hour, we decided to head south to Otis, Indiana, along the former New York Central Main Line. Otis is home to The Hill, being the steepest point on the railroad between Toledo and Chicago. Here, trains have to work hard up the grade, and it makes for quite a sight. Our first train was 35E, a westbound manifest with some unique power that included an SD60 and 3 freshly painted Union Pacific Aces, with a brand new EMD Tier 4 locomotive bracketed in between the set. About 10 minutes after seeing the 35E descend the hill, train 16E, an eastbound manifest train with an armor yellow set of power, was about to round the curve at speed.
I've got you lined up to 437. You can hold there.
Roger that. Hold that south end.
after seeing the 16E battle up the hill, we caught yet another eastbound. This time it would be a coal drag with BNSF foreign power. Train S8029 is a loaded coal train bound for the final destination of Monroe, Michigan. While descending the hill, it would meet one of the hottest trains on the railroad, NS Intermodal Train number 200. The 200 had only 9 cars and 1 unit on this sunny October evening, and it would be our last train of the day, ending another eventful trip to northern Indiana. One week later, on November 3rd, we found ourselves at Carroll Avenue Yard once again in the early morning, where we would begin chasing the South Shore's East Chicago turn for a final time later in the day. This Friday's run would be the last trip for the South Shore over the CSX Garrett subdivision, marking an end of an era for the short line. To commemorate the event, the AF5's crew added the company's 100th anniversary caboose to the end of their power move, and would carry it with them throughout their trip to East Chicago and back. The 1916 is a former Santa Fe caboose, and was repainted earlier this year in the short line's signature orange and maroon striped livery. The first location where we would capture the train would be on 11th Street in Michigan City, where the South Shore runs down the middle of the street through downtown, along with 10th Street, where the street running continues after crossing over the Michigan Central Main Line. Today's train is running as AF5 instead of the usual AF3 symbol assigned to this job, since AF3 has Fridays off. After shooting the train running down the street at Michigan City, we caught the consecutively numbered Jeeps and the caboose in tow at Beverly Shores. The depot is a popular station stop and is famous for its Spanish architecture. At Bailey, the AF5 tied onto their train. The crew would perform some light switching duties in order to tie onto the caboose on the rear of the train. Bailey is located opposite of the ArcelorMittal steel plant and is a busy point on the South Shore line. While moving the train into position to acquire the caboose, we witnessed another South Shore Line commuter train running east at Bailey. Moving west, we shot the train outside of Ogden Dunes and from the station platform before setting up at the community of Miller. After clearing the block at Miller, the train shoved backwards, with the caboose acting as a shoving platform for the conductor. Once the D-rail was removed and the switch was lined, the train continued down the connection track. At Lake Street, adjacent from the old B&O depot at Miller, we caught empty CSX ethanol train K460 while waiting for the South Shore job. Once permission was given by CSX for the South Shore to head west on the Garrett, we made our way to the old and abandoned Gary Station, where we would shoot the train from Interstate 90. At East Chicago, Indiana, we observed the train entering yard limits.
Yeah, baby, working.
Upon getting access to the yard, we moved to the west, where the South Shore line would drop off their cars for one final time. At Pegasus Yard, the Baltimore and Ohio terminal caboose, number 900-433, can be seen as the South Shore continued snaking through the yard lead. Seeing two cabooses in one day, train watching doesn't get much better than that. After dropping off their train, the crew of the AF5 would grab the caboose for the return trip home, bringing no outbounds with them. We would again shoot the train at the Gary Depot, but this time we decided to film from the South Shore commuter station just south of Interstate 90. At Miller Station, the train shoved up the connection, caboose first, with the conductor giving us a slight blast on the caboose's working air whistle. We decided to head for Michigan City, where we would catch the South Shore's bi-level commuter cars running through the street on westbound train 118. Shortly after the commuter train cleared the streets, train AF5 could be seen in the distance. Watch as the traffic clears just before the power crossed Washington Street. This would be our last shot of the day as we said farewell to the East Chicago job for one final time. 9 days later, we were back in Michigan City on November 12th. In the mid-morning hours of the day, we were notified that train AF5 would be switching out GAF Industries on the former nickel plate line just east of Carroll Avenue Yard. After servicing GAF, the train would go west to interchange with the Canadian National Railway in Gary. Though it was cold outside, the lack of wind provided for a unique opportunity to film and capture the sound of the South Shore's non-turbo GP38-2s switching the yard.
Clear. Holiday Discovery, switching line, derails off, 25, come on. Line of down here.
Shoving to GAF Industries on the nickel plate line, the crew would work the industry for nearly a half hour. We watched as they efficiently switched out the customer. After departing GAF, we caught the train at Beverly Shores. With 3 GP38-2s and 2 hoppers, you could definitely say that this train was way overpowered. Miller Station would be the last location we shot AF5 as a train, choosing to return to Michigan City to shoot 2 of the electrified commuter consists running down 11th Street. After shooting the eastbound commuter train, AF-5 returned as light power through the busy city street. Commuter Train 506 would be our last train of the day, ending part 1 of our Tour of the South Shore Line video series. We would watch the train stop for passengers and then depart before calling it a day. If you enjoyed this piece, look for more videos on the South Shore Line in the coming months. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great railroad media just like this.